Drivers, start your printers.
To keep pace with the ever-changing landscape of marketing and advertising, let Clark Print Shop help you spot the trends and keep you in front of the pack with all your color printing needs.
From business cards to invitations, menus to mugs, we can print anything you need on paper or your choice of over 3,000 promotional items.
Visit www.clarkprintshop.com to browse our online catalog and place your order today, or call us at 276-889-3426. For a limited time, use the code iRacing for 23% off your first purchase. The staff at Clark Print Shop looks forward to handling all your color printing needs.
In the heartland of our country, something magical is happening. At Walkin' and Rollin' Costumes, we know the power of community, of hands coming together to create wonders. These costumes are symbols of love, compassion, and inclusion. Your hands can craft dreams. Join us at Walkin' and Rollin' Costumes Build Events and be a part of something extraordinary.
Well, it's a legacy in the Lone Star State that lives on in iRacing, and here tonight we go back to the classic configuration, when this racetrack saw speeds down the back straightaway of over 190 miles per hour. Live from the virtual Legacy Texas Motor Speedway, it's the Saturday Night Racing League Challenger Series live on V-Speed. Welcome in, everybody. I'm your host, Bradley Cooper. Jeff Wright joining me in the booth for week number 2. Jeff, we saw some fireworks in the Challenger Series at Daytona, but here tonight it's going to be a little bit different style of racing. Not so much the pack and draft styles that we're used to seeing at Speed Weeks.
Yeah, we're kind of finally getting back down to the typical type of racing that you're going to see for most of the season. It was a fun week at Daytona, pretty much a relatively clean race. Got a little bit messy at the end, saw Judson Curtis end up taking the checkered flag. But now we get down to business with, the main part of the schedule. Starting here with 1.5 miles, the Legacy Texas Motor Speedway. This is such a fun place to have a race. It's wore out, it's slick, it's fast. These drivers are going to have their hands full tonight.
It's a racing surface over a decade old, and the asphalt will be very abrasive, will chew up these tires. Talk about the points here real quickly. Judson Curtis, like you said, got the victory. Justin Ritchie got really close second place. It was 6 1,000ths or something like that, I think. So it's probably one of the closest finishes we've ever seen here on V-Speed. And then separating third and fourth position coming across the line, Bryce Shoemaker gets a top 3. But if it is any indicator of what we saw in Season 1, we had multiple different winners, and the champion last season didn't even win a race.
Yeah, it's consistency that's going to win the championship yet again this season, I would argue. A little bit different formula as we got the chase this year, so points will reset. Drivers that win races are going to be awarded bonus points going into the chase, so it's going to be important to win races in the regular season. Judson Curtis did that just last week, starting himself off with a win and 3 additional bonus points as we get closer to that chase.
And then quickly, the race analysis: 100 laps, 45 mile per hour pit road speed limit, 3 tire sets available. And, of course, on the iRacing Fix setup with 80% fuel. With that, let's take you trackside now. Get the grid up on your screen. Starting on the pole here tonight, it's the 79 of Jordan Trask with a 30.712. He will start to the inside of Noah Michalski, the 03, starting in second. Not sure why my numbers aren't popping up, but we'll go to row number 2. Philip Brewer will start in third position. Richard Holland making his first appearance, a name I'm familiar with, in SNR. And he'll start in the 4th position. Timothy Peters and Matt Dominique in 25 will start in the 6th position. Michael Muncie in 7th, Justin Carey in 8th, and rounding out your top 10, we have Caleb Weekly and Austin Belke in the 24.
And starting in the 11th position, it's going to be Keith Shoemaker in the 88 machine alongside Rob Hamp starting 12th. Stephen Davis in the 60 starts 13th. Judson Curtis, race winner last week at Daytona, he rolls off 14th. Mark Cofield will start 15th. Chris Rude in the 16th starting position. Justin Ritchie 17th. Matt Shinosky 18th. Brian Hennings 19th. And Max Cost starting 20th.
21st will go to Rob Denton with Jeremy Reed to his outside. Tad Dabney in the 23rd position with Logan Threlkeld in the number 12 starting 24th. Brandon Wallace and Benjamin Richards, 25th and 26th. Tim Shinosky in 27th. Dakota Floyd in 28th. Mark McFadden will start in the 29th position. Bryce Shoemaker. We got Mike Sturgill electing not to grid, might have had a connection issue. And Edward Fiedler will round out your field of 32 cars here tonight from Texas. So Trask puts it up on the pole here today. We've seen how fast Jordan Trask was last season. Got a victory. I believe it was at Daytona that he had a victory. But here tonight, this Texas Motor Speedway, it's notorious for chewing up tires. It's notorious for kind of being single groove on the exits of the corners. You can come into the entries side by side. It's getting off the exit. It's usually the outside is where you want to be.
This track has definitely narrowed up in recent years. Like we said earlier, this thing is fast, it's slick, but you're right. You want to be towards the bottom at this particular racetrack. So that's where the guys are going to be able to save the tires the best. So I'm going to be looking for the guys on the long run. You'll probably see those guys really commit hard to that bottom lane. But we're about ready to go green here, Mr. Cooper. This is going to get fun.
So here we go for 100 laps. Legacy, Texas. Saturday night style. The Challenger Series week number 2 is underway in the Lone Star State. Already, right at the start, misshift for the 63. Max Cost off track, but we're going into turn 2.
Noah Maholsky powering around, trying to use that outside. He's going to pull Jordan Trask down the straightaway. He will clear him as they go off into turn number 3. Noah Maholsky to the point here at Texas Motor Speedway.
And so problems right there for the 63. We'll take a replay after we watch these drivers go around a couple laps, but that was unfortunate there for Max Cost. Started in 20th. He was already kind of in mid-pack. Was going to have a lot of work for the day here. Now he needs a caution to even have a chance of getting back in this thing.
Really hate that for Max Cost, too. A home racetrack for him. I know he's not too far from the Texas Motor Speedway area. Probably looking forward to this race and gets in trouble early. Definitely has some damage, but I don't think it's race ending. You know, if he catches a caution, get to pit lane, fix as much as he can. I still think Max can get out here and be competitive.
On board with Richard Holland, a driver that I'm familiar with, started in 4th. He's lost a spot past Philip Brewer, has gotten by him on the inside. We talked about how the long run is going to play a factor in this race. Where would you want to be? What line do you want to run? Do you want to force this car to the bottom if it's struggling to stay down there? Do you run maybe a little bit of a half lane, maybe a hybrid groove, high on one end, low on the other?
Well, the entry can be definitely flexible, and you said that earlier just moments ago, but it's all about that center to entry off here in these corners at Texas, especially in turn 1. You really want to be low in these cars in turn 1 and 2 here at Texas. If you get up, you're really wearing that right front off. In these Xfinity cars, that's super important. You got to have the right front on the car. So as we're right on board here, you can see all these cars are electing to run that bottom. It can widen out as, you know, we lay down laps, we lay down rubber. But, I mean, at least at these, you know, initial 15, 20 laps, you're really going to see guys committed to this bottom lane. If you move up, there might be speed there, but you're probably going to pay the price for it and probably start losing spots, a handful of laps later.
So as we progress through this race, you're seeing some drivers that maybe were being patient, maybe saving the tires. Richard Holland continuing to lose spots now. Worked his way back up a position, but it looks like he's being very conservative. We go back deeper in the field. It looks like problems for the 56 of Benjamin Richards. Damage on the front end of this car.
Yeah, not sure what happened to this machine here, but definitely that's going to be significant damage. Going to be a lot to repair on that thing. So going to go ahead and throw probably 4 tires on it and probably sit on pit lane here and try to fix as much as he possibly can. But definitely when you're on pit lane during a green flag run, you're going to lose a lot of time.
We're going to go back to the start of this race and look at what happened to Max Koss. Big check up there with, it looks like the 32 of Chris Rude, and then the 74 of Hennings gets collected in that as well. Now we're going to have to take a look at what happened to Benjamin Richards to get all that damage on the front of that machine. So while I hunt for that, let's see if we can go back. Figure this out. Well, there's the damage. Let's back it up a little bit further. He already had front end damage. That might have been from a checkup and the damage hindering him. Maybe he just brought it down pit road. I'm not entirely sure on that.
Yeah, it definitely looks significant and probably hurting him really bad air-wise. I bet you that race car is probably so tight with the amount of damage that he does have. It looks like Logan Threlkel just ahead in 12th. I think he has a little bit of damage on the nose too. So any sort of damage at the front of the race car at a track that's as fast as Texas is, that's really going to hurt you. This car, it's known for being tight the way it already is. You throw some damage on the front of that car and it's going to basically be, a plow. So I'm sure that the handling is just awful on those race cars right now. But battle for the lead starting to heat up a little bit here. Jordan Trask right there in second, following Noah Mahalski. And Timothy Peters up from the 5th starting position is lurking in 3rd.
Jordan Trask, your pole sitter, fell back 1 position. Is hung right behind Noah Mahalski. Mahalski has led every single lap so far. Car off on the groove there. It looks like that was Benjamin Richards, not sure. Logan Threlkeld also down pit road with damage. I gotta wonder, because it's so hot out here today, and we talked about the weather there a little bit in the pre-race. It's 85 degrees, 128 on the track temperature. If you get a little bit of front end damage, there's a good possibility this car could be overheating.
Yeah, and it's already hot the way it is, like you said, right? So yeah, overheating can become a concern. That's going to take power out of the race car. You're going to lose straightaway speeds. In the corners, it's not going to be handling very well. So you're naturally going to have to be putting more wheel into it, which means, you're scrubbing the right front tire even more. So any sort of damage can just be, super, super bad for the longevity of these race cars. One battle I was just watching just a moment ago was Caleb Weekly, Austin Belke, battling for that 7th place position. Caleb is up from 9th up to 7th. He's one of those drivers that from season 1 of the SNR Cup Series posted a 14th place finish here. It's actually the highest of any of the guys in this field right now. So Caleb knows how to get around Texas Motor Speedway. Austin Belke up 2 positions as well. He's an 8th race winner from Iowa last season in the trucks, off to a pretty good start as well.
Belke put on a phenomenal show and got all the way to the very end of the season with a chance to win that championship. There was about, I would say mathematically, 5 drivers that had a shot at it there in those last 2 weeks. And you would have thought there, if you look at the stats, that Dakota Floyd, being consistent, getting top 5s, but not getting a win throughout the whole course of that season. Any one of these drivers could have stepped up to the plate and just won out on those last 2 and taken it away.
Yeah, it shows you how competitive, this field is really throughout. Anybody can win. I mean, we saw a lot of different winners last season, not only Challenge Series, but also Cup Series. Right now, a driver that is yet to win is Noah Mahalski. He's out here leading this race right now. Jordan Trask also winless so far in the Challenger Series. And he's
a little bit going on here.
Yeah, getting a little bit crazy back there. You can see Judson Curtis there, race winner from Daytona. slotting himself in line. Looking at the position, he's up to 12th from starting 14th, so he's up a few spots. But yeah, this is kind of the part of the racetrack where, I mean, we said it a lot at Daytona, you know, being on your toes, but still, when you're riding, you know, kind of middle of the pack here at a slick racetrack, it's easy for cars to get out of control, start sliding. You got to be, you know, ready to, you know, take action if something happens in front of you, because you could very easily get collected in something as well.
Rob Hamp on the outside, just in front of Judson Curtis, your winner at Daytona. Louisiana Hot Sauce 29, just outside the top 10, and got some battles for third. Here goes Richard Holland picking up another position to the inside of Timothy Peters in the 20. I don't know, Jeff. I don't know if you're familiar with this name or not, but I've raced with him for, well, pretty much since the time I joined iRacing. I'm very familiar with Richard Holland, and I think this is a name that you'll get familiar with here in the future.
Yeah, Richard Holland is somebody I believe that raced with us a few times in season 1 of the SNR Cup Series. I don't think that we've seen him on track since. So this season is really the first seeing him multiple times. Like I said, I think we saw him one time, maybe, or a few times in the SNR Cup Series back then. But obviously showing that he's going to be a force to be reckoned with here. Already up to third, so definitely making progress. But that battle for the lead, it's hasn't changed hands since Noah Michalski has taken over, but Jordan Trask is not going away just yet.
I've seen him lose a little bit of ground, but that could be backing up the entries to these corners, trying to save some tire. It's about 4/10 of a second. Lead starts to stretch out a little bit here. We've ran 18 laps now. Clean and, well, I wouldn't say clean, but we've ran them green. We've had some issues there on the very start of this race. We've had a couple drivers come down pit road. Your defending champion got some damage on that. You can see him there on the outside of Jordan Trask, trying to get by and get one of his laps back. The Dakota Floyd's second week here, not going according to plan. Even Daytona really didn't go according to plan, but it was still a top 10 effort.
Yeah, it's the way you wanted to start off, you know, in terms of points. You know, the goal is the championship. Dakota wants to repeat, had a solid day at Daytona. Didn't get the win that he wanted, but, you know, for Daytona, a lot of people, if you just get a top 5 and can get out of there, they'll be happy with that. But now he's going to try to work over Noah here and try to get that lap back. That's going to be big, because if a caution falls, then he doesn't have to take a lucky dog and then, you know, have to go towards the tail end of the pack. But
well,
yeah, it's important to get one of these laps back.
I will say, he does have 4 of them, so to add on to that, it's kind of like that insult to injury. He got damaged. He was off pace. He lost a lot of ground. Had to come down pit road to get it repaired. And when you come down pit road here at Texas, you're going to lose at least 2 laps. And with the damage repair, he lost 4 of them. Now gets 1 of those back. He is going to be that lucky pass position. He is 3 laps down compared to Richards, Strelkeld, and McFadden, who are 4 laps down.
Yeah, and they're all involved in that first lap incident. Max Koss was involved too, but so far he's managed to stay on the lead lap. I see he's about 23 seconds behind the leader here, so if he can keep up the pace here and then catch a caution, not go a lap down, then that would allow him to get to pit lane, try to fix some damage, and then kind of get him realistically back in this race. But another driver that I've been keeping an eye on that's really, you know, made a surge, Tim Shanowski in the 41 machine, up from 27th starting position, currently runs 17th, so good run here by Tim, getting some positions here early. We're probably about, you know, 10 to 15 laps away from seeing our first pit stop as well. So I know we had a little bit of a mess on the initial start, but other than that, pretty clean green flag racing. Getting to green flag pit stops here is going to be pretty interesting here soon too.
So we go back, we're talking about the start of this race. There's Bryce Shoemaker to the inside of Chris Rude. This is for 20th position. You have the 9 of Tad Dabney just in front of him, a little tight off the corner of the exit. I think I saw some rubber flying up there on that camera angle. iRacing implementing back into the marbles. A lot of graphical changes, a lot of changes overall here in the simulator. In fact, the most recent update, I think they refreshed the anti-cheat here, Jeff, so some other things going on.
Yeah, that should be a pretty big effect for you, Mr. Cooper. Now maybe we can keep up with you in all these official races that we do late Saturday night. So maybe we'll actually have a chance now. But yeah, there's been a few updates, and also graphics and also the grass and the dirt. Like going through the grass can throw up a lot of debris up on the racetrack, and it will take grip away. So before you didn't have that. So iRacing has definitely made some changes. And yeah, you can see the marbles kind of flying off some of the tires here towards the outside wall. So that's definitely pretty cool to see here.
Let's see if I can find a good look at that. Not so much any debris down here on the bottom of the racetrack. It's up towards that wall. There you can see a little bit of pieces flying around. It's neat. It's the detail. That's kind of what we all strive for when we're watching a simulator or being a part of it, is the little details like that.
Yeah, and as we were watching that, Cam, I thought I saw somebody maybe taking it to pit lane. I was going to say the 25, Matt Dominique is taking it to pit lane. Early pit stop here, but hey, that's part of the strategies that you could play, right? Get to pit lane first, undercut it, maybe gain some time here on the leaders, and then maybe catch a caution at the right time. Or might be going for, a three-stop approach, maybe pitting around about 25-ish, again around 50, then 75 to the end. That could be a strategy too. I think that the winning strategy is probably going to be the two-stopper. I think you're going to see guys probably go to around lap 33, 35, somewhere around there, maybe a little bit longer. But I do think it's going to be the two-stop that ultimately wins this race. Right now, it looks like Noah Michalski is just setting sail. He is out for, I would say a Sunday drive, but a Saturday night drive is what he's on right now. And Richard Holland has taken away the second position away from Jordan Trask. Jordan Trask starting to fall back a little bit. Looks like the tire wear is kind of starting to show on that 79 machine, but we're getting close to pit stops here, and this is going to be a part of the race where you can separate yourself from the rest of the pack here. So a good pit stop here from Jordan Trask will get him right back in this thing.
Well, I tried to tell you. I tried to warn you, but based off of what Richard Holland has done, he's worked his way up 2 positions, just playing that long game. Conservative on the tires, lost a couple spots, works his way up to second. Now it's a matter of, if I know anything about this guy, and I'm talking about over 10 years of racing with him, he's going to try to win this battle on pit road here very soon.
And he's going to have 2 opportunities at it, so this will be the first of the 2 stops. Get as much as you can here, but, I mean, overstepping anything, getting a penalty, that's probably going to, end your chance at a race win tonight. So these guys up front, like Noah, like Richard Holland, showing a lot of speed, but you got to execute those pit stops. Otherwise, all that speed that you've shown here, the first run goes out the window. So you've got to be really on top of things, not make any mistakes on that pit stop.
So here we go with some of these drivers cycling through pit road. Brandon Wallace has brought it down. Matt Shinowski as well. Matt Dominique. I'm going to get that one right, I promise. 25 was the first one to bring it down. Then you had the drivers that had damage. Max Koss has brought his in. He is now exiting pit road. He's a couple laps down now. He was falling behind. I think he'll cycle through after these pit stops 1 lap down. I don't think he got any of that damage repaired, so he's still trying to salvage this day, praying for a caution.
I do think that will put him close to the first car a lap down.
Oh, he's bringing it back in.
Yeah, that's not good news. That tells me that the damage is probably a lot worse than what he initially thought. So either he's coming down here to try to get more of that fixed, or he potentially could be parking it for the night. But man, this 29 of Judson Curtis right now, our winner from Daytona just a week ago, he is really on a tear right now. He's cracked inside the top 10 up to 7th, and he is working on 6th place on Mike Muncy just ahead. And Mike Muncy, pretty good at the 1.5. A little bit of a slide there.
I don't know if he had help or if he got loose. Air off the spoiler?
Yeah, possibly. He definitely got sideways, that's for sure. But I was just going to say, race winner from Chicagoland a season ago in the Truck Series, so knows how to get it done at the 1.5s. But, man, Judson Curtis is on a tear right now, and he is coming through the field. That's going to put him up to the 6th position. Still a ways from the race leader, but I mean, starting deep in the field like that, that's an impressive run to pass this many cars.
Yeah, he had some help. Just a little touch.
Yeah, just a little bit of a nudge, enough to get him a little bit sideways, but that's just showing the speed, how well he can rotate the center here. It looks like Bryce Shoemaker, he is electing to come down pit road right now, put 4 tires and fuel in it. Looks like he's pretty much splitting this thing as a 2-stop strategy, pretty much right on the dot. So he's had a run up through the field as well, started towards the back. I think he's clicked off about, close to 10 positions before we got to pit stop. So Bryce Shoemaker, another driver we're going to have to keep an eye on. Came so close to winning at Daytona or last week, actually. The caution coming out kind of destroyed that opportunity, but he was right there ready to make a big move.
Bring that schedule up on your screen here on the right-hand side. We mentioned Bryce Shoemaker. I noticed there on the 18th of May, there's a racetrack that he put on a clinic in the Challenger Series Season 1. That might be another opportunity for him. I know we don't see it very often here at Saturday Night Racing, where a driver leads all the laps and starts on the pole and wins the race. But yeah, it definitely happened.
Yeah, it definitely did. Last season at Martinsville on the trucks, Bryce didn't even have to come to pit lane and was able to hang on to that race win. No tires needed. He stayed out on racetrack and basically dominated the entire night. But pit stops here for our leaders. Noah Mahalski is away. Looks like a clean in, clean out pit stop for him. I believe Jordan Trask and a few others also followed him down pit lane.
Yes.
I think that Noah's going to retain that battle for the lead. It'll be interesting to see those short pitters, where they come out on track. They might have jumped Noah, but I definitely think the tire advantage now, it won't be long before Noah Mahalski sees himself back in the race lead.
Well, good for Mark Cofield. He was able to get back out here on the racetrack, and if he can stretch this run one more lap, he'll get a lap lead.
Oh, we got
problems with
trouble.
the grid. Oh, boy. Was that the 19 or was that
19 and a few others got really sideways? Lucky that was not a bigger incident. I think Jordan Trask was involved with that. Yeah, we're gonna have to watch this one back.
It's the 44, Philip Brewer, 79 of Trask, and contact. Wow. Incredible save, though.
Big slide for both of them. Good job, though, to keep it straight. But those are just, guys coming together on different strategies. You had the guys that are exiting the pits. You had some guys that are already made their stop. They were coming pretty quick on the top with a lot of speed, and they just came together there. Just not enough room for 2, 3 wide, whatever it was. But they kept it straight. We stayed green here.
No, Mahalski, we're talking about the cycle out to the lead here. He's got about a 3-second advantage over Richard Holland. So on and off pit road perfectly for him. A driver that had problems on pit road, though. And then even more problems. He had issues in the pits. He slid through his stall. Then he comes back out on the racetrack, has contact with the 19, and Muncie. Jordan Trask, your pole sitter, has fallen back to 11th now.
Yeah, the slide there really going to hurt him. We saw him kind of start to drop towards the back half of that initial first run. And then obviously coming out of pit lane there, got together with the 19. Went for a slide, he's going to lose some more time there. So now, looking at the timing and scoring here, Noah, he's about, 10 seconds behind to what will be the race leader in Noah Mahalski. So that's a lot of time. Battle for the race win here, probably pretty much over here for Jordan, unless he catches a caution. Looks like he might have some damage as well. But Mark Cofield finally going to bring it to pit lane. Probably pretty much ran that fuel tank dry. Overshoots the box just a little bit, able to get it put in reverse and gets it back into his box. But now Chris Rude in that walking and rolling 32 Ford Mustang he's going to take over the race lead here and get himself a lap led, that's a bonus point. Those are all very important.
10 years walking and rolling costumes has been making costumes for children with disabilities. And, you know, if you go back just a couple weeks there, we had a full-on race in the Clash for a Cause, and that link is still active. If you would like to go back and watch that replay of that race, donate to a good cause. Chris Rude currently in the lead, but yet to pit. Last car on the racetrack that has not hit pit road.
Yeah, and I like the strategy. I mean, he was towards the middle to back half of the pack. You may as well, run the fuel tank out. If he catches a caution right now, I mean, he gained a lot of track position, but Noah Michalski's only 2 seconds back, and he's closing in really fast here. So if we ride on board with Noah here, you're going to see just how big the tire advantage is from old tires to new tires. Look at the gap here that he's going to make up on Chris Rude as he drives it off into turn 3 and 4 here.
It was a whole second.
Just an incredible amount, and now Noah's going to slip on by. Now, if I'm Chris Rude, I'm probably going to get the pit lane next time by, but able to get a bonus point and get himself some TV time with that walking and rolling Ford Mustang. I like the call.
Do you think he stretches this out all the way to lap 50?
I really think they can only go about 45 laps tops. I mean, if he was saving fuel, then maybe he could stretch it another lap or two, but I mean, he's just so far off the pace right now with the tire disadvantage. I'd be trying to get the pit lane here as soon as possible. The only problem is there's cars coming on the bottom here. He can't find himself a lane to get to pit road.
He got into the wall there just now. Now he's got Max Cost. Not sure who that was in the car in front of Max Cost, just storming on by. But now that we cycled through these pit stops, Noah Michalski officially back to the lead here on lap 45. He's led 36 laps here today. This is looking like the first maybe win. I hate to do that commentary curse, but if this race stays green, this could be the one.
Certainly looks really good so far. I mean, he was able to get the lead from Jordan Trask, the pole setter for tonight, pretty early on. And then outside of that, the only laps that he hasn't led has been during this fuel cycle. So Noah brought it to pit lane right around lap 35 or so. And now, we've cycled through the pit stops. He's found himself back in the lead. But, yeah, I mean, don't want to give him the commentator's curse by any means, Bradley. I mean, we're not quite halfway yet. We still got another important pit stop to get through before it's all said and done, but certainly looking like the favorite. And
Chris has got heavy damage on the right front. Got really tight there. He's trying to let these guys by, but for what he was trying to do, I think he was trying to stretch this run all the way to lap 50 and make it a one-stop race, and it doesn't look like it's panned out because now with that damage, he's losing a ton of ground. This is where some of these guys consider the strategy. You've got 3-stop drivers, you've got 2-stop drivers, and you have guys trying to attempt that one. How far do you want to push it? I know everyone's competitive here, Jeff, but you got to kind of factor in that the tires are going to just be gone at this point.
Yeah, I mean, it's a stretch to be able to do that. I mean, even if you're heavy saving, to save 5 laps under green flag conditions here at Texas, I wouldn't say it's impossible, but, it's definitely a stretch. And I think he was saving fuel. I think that's probably what Chris was trying to do. Try to get it to lap 50 and then, save enough fuel to make it so he didn't have to, pit again. And I just think with the time that, he's giving up on those older tires, I didn't think it was quite going to work. But, hey, I mean, if you're, towards the middle of the pack or on back, you might as well try something. So can't fault him for that, but saving 5 laps of fuel in a fuel run at Texas Motor Speedway where those tires are just getting chewed up, that was going to be a really tall task to complete.
Michalski with the lead about 2 seconds away. Philip Brewer has worked back to 3rd position where he began this race. Michael Muncie up 3 spots to 4th. Biggest mover of the race is the 40. Actually, it's the 54. Take that back. It's the 54 Bryce Shoemaker up to 13th. He started back in 30th position. So a lot of moves here. A lot of different paint schemes as well throughout the season for this 54 car.
Yeah, we are going to see a lot of very cool paint schemes for Bryce Shoemaker this season. That is for sure. Having a good run, showing that he's pretty competitive here on the long run, but just starting so far back in the field in 30th. I mean, that's it's a lot to overcome. He's already, overcame, half the field. He's up to 13th, but I think for him to really get himself back in the conversation, as far as competing for, a top 5, he's going to need a caution to kind of reset. But long runs have been his strong suit, and he's showing that tonight. It'll be interesting to watch him the rest of the night. If this thing stays green, we get another, long green flag fuel run. I mean, he very well could put himself up in the top 10, no question. I think the top 5, that might be a bit of a stretch. Currently, he's about 10 seconds behind that. But if anybody can do it, I think it'd be this 54. He shows that he's really good on the long run.
Carrying on here with lap 52, past the halfway mark. Speaking of Firestorm, I think it's a perfect opportunity here, Jeff. What do you think? Maybe we just find those volume knobs here on V-Speed, wherever that remote control is, and let's get loud. Presented by FireStorm Racing. That was Get Loud, presented by FireStorm Racing. Noah Michalski continues to lead here. Richard Holland kept at bay. I think right now Noah Michalski's just kind of maintaining that gap. He sees it get below 1.7. He turns the heat back up a little bit. He does have a 1-lap disadvantage here on tires, but I think at this point, 21 laps into the run, it's pretty much evened out.
Yeah, they're trading lap times back and forth. They're pretty even for the most part. Richard Holland has cut into it ever so slightly, but it's not really enough to make a huge difference here. It's pretty much back and forth. What it's going to come down to, and I always talk about the pit stops, but that's really where this race is going to be decided, especially if this thing stays green, which these cars are spread out. It's looking like that. I know it's, we, especially on that, the Get Loud segment there presented by FireStorm Racing, these cars are sliding all over the place. So the fact that we haven't had more incidents, more cautions, I mean, credit to these guys. This car is a handful, but I mean, that's been the theme, this season so far. I mean, at Daytona, these guys, all of these guys in the Challenger Series have done an incredible job, racing hard, racing aggressive, but keeping it clean, limiting the cautions. We're seeing that just again tonight, and it's been a lot of fun to watch up here from the booth. But it's going to be that pit stop here, that final pit stop, which I'm going to guess going to come around, lap 66, lap 70, somewhere around there. is probably what we're looking for. Holland is eating into that lead again a little bit, but if he can get closer before this next round of pit stops start, we might have a race on our hands.
Looks like Austin Belkey and the 74 Brian Hennings are bringing it down to pit road. Not sure if this is a scheduled stop. Definitely not a scheduled stop here. Oh, issues for the 74. And he has taken an early exit.
Yeah, missed his box is what it looks like there. So unfortunate there for the 74. That's probably pretty much going to do it for him. He's going to have to tow. And yes, he does. He exits the session. So unfortunate for Brian Hennings to have his night come to an end. But these guys that are on this pit stop sequence right now, the guys bringing it to pit lane, they're pretty much, coming in now, and then they are going to stay out the rest of the night. Lap 40 is about the farthest you can stretch it, 40 to 45 laps. So, and why not? I mean, try something, right? I mean, Noah Michalski and the race leaders, they're more than likely going to, keep it pretty much splitting it at about that lap 66, 70 to make it a two-stop race even. But, I mean, you can't fault the guys for trying anything. You might as well.
So you were talking about Holland chipping away at that lead a little bit, and I think lap traffic is the main factor in this. They seem to be running identical lap times when there isn't traffic around them. Holland a little bit faster through 3 and 4, but Michalski makes it all back up through 1 and 2. This is the part of the racetrack, though, that if you can learn how to get off the exit here, it gets very, very tight off the exit of 4. If you can figure that out, Michalski is doing good enough that through 1 and 2, he's able to maintain 2 seconds.
And you can see how low he's getting in the corners here. I mean, the lower you are at Texas here, especially at this configuration, the better. It's just going to help the right front tire. You see some of the guys that have probably wore off the right front, they're going to move up the racetrack and just try to search for a little bit of grip. But, I mean, if you can stay pinned to that bottom, just like the 21 here, Justin Carey, he's going to complete the pass, but now he's going to cross him over. Getting a little dicey here. We're going to swap positions again. The 19 of Muncie going to drive on by, but don't count out Carey yet. He's got a good run here through the corner. Probably going to try to get underneath him.
And I believe the 19 of Muncie is on the clutch pedal, trying to make it to lap 66 and run this thing out to the end. That might be part of the factor there. Carey also happened to contend with the fact that the 19 is having a little bit of a connection issue. We'll go side by side down the backstretch here on lap 64. This is right in that window of pit stops you were talking about, Jeff. I'd say maybe 2 more laps and we're going to see a flood of cars.
Yeah, pit lane's going to get pretty busy here pretty quick. But, man, this racing is getting heated up right now. Justin Carey's going to get the run to the inside here, see if he can try and complete the pass. Mike Muncie's not going to make it easy, though. And right behind him, Judson Curtis, we've talked a lot about tonight, still on the charge. I mean, looks like he's just waiting for these 2 cars to get done battling out so then he can make a run at it. Started 14th. He's up to 7th and looking at 5th and 6th, just ahead of him.
Side by side, lap 66. This is the window for anyone. And the opportunity has presented itself for our second round of green flag pit stops. Do we run this thing out all the way to the end? It's going to be one of those completely green races. The 19, maybe connection finally gave up. He disappears and is off the racetrack. I think the 21 of Carey is a little thankful that finally changed. He was having problems with the 29 and he wasn't sure where the 19 of Muncie was going to pop back in. There he is again, just pops back up after an entire lap around this racetrack.
Yeah, that's pretty tough, but he's going to bring it in here for his pit stop now. This is pretty much right on schedule, and, if I'm, anybody but Noah here, I'm probably trying to get to pit lane, pretty much right here. There's no reason really to run it any longer than this, especially if you're Richard Holland. I would definitely try the undercut now, and yeah, you're not going to have the fresher tires for the back half of the run, but if you can get that track position and maybe even leapfrog the 03 of Michalski here, then you got to put that 03 in some dirty air, and he hasn't had that at all tonight. He has been dominating tonight here at Legacy, Texas. So if you put him back in traffic, maybe that makes his car handle not so great, and then maybe it can be a race to the end. But I would not be surprised here if I'm Holland. I'm trying to get on pit lane before the 03 here.
Last time it was a lap later that the 17 came down pit road. I think partial to that, to add on to what you said, Jeff, I think he needs to make up his ground on the entry to pit road. He needs to have a perfect in and out. Don't make a mistake hitting the box. Come in as fast as you possibly can without getting a speeding penalty. Mahalski also notorious for good on and off. He races in the Cup Series, so he has to know at these mile and a halves how to get into pit road and how to handle himself.
Yeah, and if you're the race later here, though, I'm going to be extra conservative on this last pit stop. You got yourself a 2-second buffer. There is no reason for you to push, anything, push the effort at all. Entering the pit lane, I'm okay giving up, 2-3 tenths getting into pit lane or even getting into my box. The thing is, you cannot speed and you cannot overshoot your box. You pretty much have one pit stop here to complete, and you're in the driver's seat the rest of the way here to probably win this race. So here he comes now. See if he gets it down to speed, get in clean, gets it down nicely. Good pit entry there for the 03, well executed. Now you got to get into that box. That's the last step here. If you can do that, you're setting yourself up for a pretty good shot here the rest of the way.
So now Richard Holland is going to go an additional lap. You mentioned that you want the 17 to come down a lap sooner than Noah Mahalski. It doesn't look like that's going to be the case here. It's confirmed now the 17, an additional lap on the racetrack.
Yeah, he might be bringing it in this time by. And yes, he is going to go ahead and get in here. Good entry for him as well. Same thing here. Got to get in clean, get in the, exit that pit box cleanly too. Especially on the apron too. Exiting, it's flat down there. There's not much banking on the apron. It's easy to slip. That's also a place where you could lose or gain a lot of time.
And it was even tougher. He had a lot of traffic there on the entry to pit road, and just before his box, a 20 machine was leaving his stall. So that might cost him a little bit of time. I don't know. You try to be cautious, and you're always looking around, trying to be aware of your surroundings. It gets more and more difficult when you have cars entering pit road. You saw a lockup there on the bottom of the racetrack. Not sure who that was, but then you have Timothy Peters exiting his stall right as Richard Holland's going into his.
Yeah, it can get dicey on pit lane before, and I saw that firsthand last week in the Cup Series at Daytona. Actually, got into it with my teammate a little bit. We made contact, and I went around. Thankfully, it was under caution, so I didn't lose a whole lot of time from it. But got to do some heads-up driving on pit lane for sure, especially when it gets busy, which right around these scheduled pit stop times. That's when you see the most traffic on there. So got to do some heads-up driving. Make sure you stay out of trouble.
Tim Shinoski just went through pit road. He missed his box entirely. He was the leader and one of the few cars left to bring it into the pits. Unfortunately, he didn't find his stall, and he did not get a lap left.
Yeah, that's tough. Probably wanted to stay out long enough to get that bonus point, but like you said, isn't able to get it. Noah Mahalski is already back to the race lead, and you can see the difference. One lap. Pitting sooner, he's doubled his lead now. So Richard Holland does have the 1 lap fresher tires, but I mean, he had to sacrifice 2 seconds on the racetrack for that. But now, I mean, basically 25 laps to go here. If you're Noah Mahalski, you just got to put your head down, hit your marks, pray for no caution, and more than likely it's going to look like he's going to come home a race winner.
Jordan Trask, even with the problems and that slide there that we saw through 3 and 4, has worked his way back into the top 5. He just got past Matt Dominic, and this 25 machine falling back a little bit here. Remember, the 25 was one of the first cars down pit road at the start of this race.
Hard in the fence.
Big mistake here for Noah Mahalski.
No, lap car got him. I just watched it live. I cannot believe that. That is just unreal. It's going to hand over the race lead to Richard Holland. He was trying to get underneath a lap car on the back straightaway. I'm trying to see who it was. Yeah, going down below him here, and probably didn't know they were 3 wide, made contact and up into the outside wall. That's gonna be race over for the 03. Such a dominant car tonight here at Texas Motor Speedway. Tries to go 3 wide here with Chris Rude and the 99, or is it 66 rather?
Yeah, that's the 66 of Ed Fiedler. That's
oh man, that hurts for Noah Michalski, man. He was looking like this was going to be his first win in Saturday Night Racing League, and comes together there, gets clipped to the outside wall he goes, and race over for the 03 of Noah Michalski. Now, a race later, it's pretty much a 5-second lead. Richard Holland, 5 seconds over Michael Muncie.
And I thought it was going to be the day for Michalski. I really did.
Yeah, I think we all did, watching here in the chat right now on YouTube. Just, they cannot believe it at all. See Reggie Ortega in there, Brian Chambliss. You know, we knew Noah was going to be quick. I think he was a favorite on the V-Speed odds for a reason. And he definitely showed it tonight. Had incredible speed, executed all of his pit stops. Just getting into it there with the lap car. It's going to end his night, unfortunately. So really hate that for Noah, as he's going to be on pit lane, looks like, the rest of the night. A lot of speed tonight, but nothing to show for it.
That's probably wrapped up, though, with the most laps led. I don't think that anyone else is going to touch that number. The damage on that right front, just one of the worst places there on the backstretch as we entered turn 3. Michalski, who's the dominant driver of the day, looks like he's done here for week number 2. 20 laps to go roughly here. We're going down the backstretch, about 21 or 20 and a half, if you will. Richard Holland, 6, almost 7 seconds ahead of Michael Muncie. There was a 4-second gap between the 03 and Michalski and Richard Holland before that incident. You look at the top 3, it's starting to accordion back. Philip Brewer looking like he's chasing down. Last time by, let's see if he's got the speed. About 0.3 slower. Muncie, with the connection issue, is not giving me an accurate time around this racetrack, so not sure what exactly the problem is. And then you have Jordan Trask that is now up to 4th. He can work his way into a podium.
Yeah, definitely on the table. You can see 3rd place right there in front of him in the 44 of Philip Brewer. Really, this is shaking up the race quite a bit, and even some spots being traded here. Towards the back half of the top 10. I see Rob Hamp has broken into the top 10, having a pretty good run. He's up 2 spots. He started back in the 12th spot, kind of been up and down for him. Bryce Shoemaker, though, just behind him in 11th.
Oh, Muncie in the wall. The 19 just hit it there coming out of turns 1 and 2. Got up into the wall. The 44 gets by. Here comes Trask.
Yep, that's going to put him even closer now to 3rd place here, as they're going to battle it out. Jordan Trask knocking on the door of a podium finish here. He's going to sail it on into turn 1. See if he can hold it here. Muncie can't complete the crossover. Put Jordan Trask up to P3. Realistically, he could still run down 2nd place. I mean, it looks like Richard Holland, he is checked out. I mean, him and the 03 were just in a basically class of their own tonight. I mean, they really put a gap on the rest of the field, just showing their long run speed. But 2nd place still up for grabs here, and I know Jordan Trask is looking to get back in it here. His lap car going to get in his way a little bit, stall maybe a little bit of his momentum. That's going to be Tad Dabney in the 9 car. He's going to move up the track, going to move on by. It's close racing out there, Bradley.
Yeah.
I'm just waiting for something to happen at this point. I mean, it's been clean and green. Well, green, I don't know about clean. Got a little messy there a few times, and kind of surprised we didn't see a caution, but we know how the ends of these races can get, especially when everybody's battling for, an extra position or 2 here late. This thing could turn around quickly here if we were to get a caution.
Running on board with the 29 and 6th position, Judson Curtis. It's like back-to-back weeks possible here for a top 5, as he's right on the back door. Justin Carey, 21 in the 5th position. 25 or 15 laps to go. Kerry just trying to hold on.
Yeah, just think about the point situation for Judson Curtis. If he's able to, get out of here with another solid finish, he won at Daytona last week, comes in here, gets a solid top 10, realistically, could, crack into the top 5 before this is all said and done. He's going to have himself a nice points lead as we go off into the off week next week, as Daytona week, as well as somebody's birthday, I believe, Mr. Cooper, that is a big part of your life. So glad we could schedule around that. But gonna have a big points lead going into that off break.
Yeah, it's almost like a holiday here for SNR. I think this is 2 seasons in a row. We had the Cup Series, actually, it was season 2, that I was just, running on Saturdays, the birthday weekend, it's a no-go for me. I don't exist to anyone else. I have to be there.
Right. For your wife, right. Not for you.
Right. Not for me.
Your wife, of course. We got to make sure that's known, so.
Yeah.
A family man, as we call it, Mr. Cooper. So you work with us, we work with you. Everybody's happy, right?
Absolutely. Appreciate you guys doing that for me and everything you've done here for the channel and putting on an excellent show in the Challenger Series Season 2. Phenomenal racing. Richard Holland, 8.9 seconds ahead. We're approaching 10 laps to go. Philip Brewer in the 2nd position. Then you have Jordan Trask, who's worked his way up to 3rd after the spin. Started on the pole, about 3/10 back from Philip Brewer. Michael Muncy, who's had a little bit of issues here tonight, but has made the best of his situation with the connection issue. He'll be running in 4th. Justin Carey back to 5th. And you have Judson Curtis slowly but surely getting closer and closer for that top 5.
And another driver that's, in the top 10 right here that's had a good, safe run, execute all their stops. That's the 60. Stephen Davis started 13th up to the 8th position. Has kind of, stayed out of trouble, hit those pit stops nicely. Not doing anything too flashy, but, just a solid, quiet run. Not getting in any sort of trouble, and going to bring it home a top 10 if this thing stays green. So good run here for the 60 of Davis, but now that the 03 was kicked out of this race, it's been all Richard Holland. He has built up 9-second lead here over Philip Brewer, and the only thing he's got in front of him right now is the lap traffic, and he's doing a pretty good job navigating it. I know you're always trying to get through the lap traffic, as cleanly and quickly as possible, but at this point in the race, you got that big of a lead. You got to just basically give the lap cars a lot of space here. There's no reason to rush through them or make any crazy move to try to get around them cleanly. You basically just got to keep that car in one piece at this point, and you're going to come a race winner.
Looking to the right-hand side of Matt Shinosky. Shinosky currently running in the 12th position. We have 11 cars now left on the lead lap. That's how fast the 03 and the 31, or I apologize, the 17, used to seeing the 31 on Richard Holland. With the 17, these guys have been so fast. And you talk about 9 seconds, that's almost half this racetrack around.
Yeah, that's incredibly impressive. The battle for second has been pretty tight all night. These guys are not separated by a ton, but it was, before the 03 and Noah Maholsky had his trouble with the lap traffic. It was pretty much, they were gone. It was basically 2 cars in their own area code, and the rest of the field was trying to battle for 3rd. With Noah's exit, though, that brings, Richard Holland into the race lead, and I'm sure that the 79 Jordan Trask, he got into a little bit of a scuffle there after the first pit stop and dropped a little bit. He's rebounded nicely. I'm sure he'd love to be able to get up to the 2nd place there and take that away from Philip Brewer, but man, it's just crazy to see the gap that those guys towards the front were able to build. Those guys really put on a clinic tonight.
This is for position 12. Rob Denton back into the 25 of Matt Dominique. Looking to the right-hand side. These guys are checking up a lot here. And unfortunately, they're all running the bottom. I think for anybody that wants to try to create a situation or a better pass, I think you're going to have to enter on the high line and kind of cross over on the exit. Here comes Denton, though, up to 12th. Matt Shinosky, the next one on the list. Don't know if he has enough time. It's about a full second up there. He does have a little bit of a tire advantage, so we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, what a run for Denton, too. I mean, definitely passed a lot of cars tonight. Like you said, started in 21st, finds himself in 12th right now. Big supporter of our league and our community, as he is the sponsor for the RSR Driver Cam that we host in the Cup Series later tonight. We'll be giving away $10 every single week to the driver with the least amount of incident points. Last week, that was won by Christopher Hodges and the Clark's Print Shop Biggest Mover, also in the Cup Series that we award out. That went to Bailey Turner. So appreciate all these guys that have these in-season awards. Super awesome to have that. And the RSR Driver Cam, we call it Rob's Simrig or SimCam. If you haven't seen this guy's Simrig, there it is on screen right now. Definitely the coolest one I've ever seen, for sure. I mean, every time I see it, it's just crazy. Look at the bumps going off into the corner there, turn 3. It's rattling his entire body. It's a rough racetrack, and his sim shows that for sure.
Yeah, it's a good angle there. You get the pedal camera, it's side by side, and we haven't seen a lot of people work that out to get that set up. Definitely good angles here as we have 3 laps to go. From Texas, Richard Holland, 9.1 seconds. He'll come by for 2 laps left. Philip Brewer and Jordan Trask now separated by over a second. Watching this battle between Justin Carey, Judson Curtis, and Timothy Peters, 5th through 7th. They're slowly working their way about half a second, but here goes Carey. He's trying to get around the 19 of Muncie, so 4th position in contact.
Yeah, and if you're Richard Holland right now, you don't want to hear anything about this going on behind you. The last thing you want is a caution as we get the 2 to go here, but if they can make it around to the white flag, he will come home a race winner, but boy, these guys are battling hard here late.
Check back in as Holland comes by to take the white flag. Up in the air here for Richard Holland one more time around. The racing continues for 4th through 7th position. Curtis, your race winner at Daytona, trying to get around the 21 of Justin Carey, who's trying to get around the 19. They're taking the white flag now. They almost went 3 wide. Here we go. Final time around for these drivers.
And now if something happens here, Richard Holland's not concerned about it one bit. He's got the white flag getting ready to take the checkered as he comes out of turn 4 here. What a great race by both him and Noah Mihalski.
So Richard Holland is victorious, but we got trouble coming out of turn 2, and Judson Curtis loses it on the backstretch. He needs to get this car fired back up, get it back going the right way. It's not over yet, but he's losing positions.
And we just talked about it. I mean, it was getting crazy back there. They took the white flag, so no caution comes out for this incident, but a great run that Judson Curtis was backing up from his win at Daytona, gets involved in an incident late, and now is surely going to finish outside the top 10. I would guess 10th at best. I think he's going to 10 cars on the lap.
I think he's still going to get the top 10. But there's still a lot of cars that were coming around this racetrack, and for Judson Curtis, we got to go back and see what happened in just a moment. But there's your race winner, Richard Holland, getting it done. Congratulations to him. I know it kind of goes with a little bit of an asterisk here as we saw a dominant driver have a problem here tonight. But the 17 victorious at Texas. We'll get those replays dialed up here. We'll try to get those all bookmarked for you and get those final race results, interviews with your top 3 in just a moment. You're watching the Saturday Night Racing League Challenger Series live on B-Speed.
To keep pace with the ever-changing landscape of marketing and advertising, let Clark Print Shop help you spot the trends and keep you in front of the pack with all your color printing needs.
From business cards to invitations, menus to mugs, we can print anything you need on paper or your choice of over 3,000 promotional items.
Visit www.clarkprintshop.com to browse our online catalog and place your order today, or call us at 276-889-3426. For a limited time, use the code iRacing for 23% off your first purchase. The staff at Clark Print Shop looks forward to handling all your color printing needs.
In the heartland of our country, something magical is happening. At Walkin' and Rollin' Costumes, we know the power of community, of hands coming together to create wonders. These costumes are symbols of love, compassion, and inclusion. Your hands can craft dreams. Join us at Walkin' and Rollin' Costumes build events and be a part of something extraordinary.
Welcome to the World Center of Racing here tonight from Daytona International Speedway for the opening race of the Saturday Night Racing League Challenger Series, live tonight on V-Speed. 60 laps here. It's 150 miles. We've got 3 tire sets available. Not going to be too much of an issue for most of these drivers, but if you have enough accidents, you might wear the tires out. We got 2 green white checkered attempts, 80% fuel loads. This is the opening race of the series, just 10 races. Here we go, kicking things off for the Challenger Series for Saturday Night Racing League. Green flags in the air. We're off and away. And we got cars spinning, huge pile up. Logan Threlkeld with the advantage. Here goes Matthew Radford, gonna jump to the outside. It's gonna be a drag race, and Radford's gonna win it.
Wow, what a finish. Man, Radford just timed that perfectly.
He's going to come into 3 and 4 with about a half a second lead. Out of turn 4 for the final time. Across the line, it's Brian Chambliss with his first win of the season.
And Jordan Trask, and they battle it out. They're going to get side by side. They're actually running it down here. What will Philip Brewer do? Will he try to get to the outside again? Not quite able to do it. Bryce clears him, but there goes Philip Brewer. Looks like Bryce Shoemaker is going to have no pressure from behind. Bryce Shoemaker is going to take the victory, 128 laps without a pit stop.
One 1,000th of a second across that line. Chuck Sweden led that lap by. The white flag is out. Final time around for the Challenger Series at Michigan. The 2-mile Speedway.
Dakota Boy here, what do you do right now?
Look at the block down the backstretch.
You have to send it in hard here on the bottom, but Ferrato's got the preferred line.
And they're 3-4 wide back here in the 10th position. But off in turn 4 for the final time, side by side. A door check, 3 wide for the lead. Ferrata is going to get the win at Michigan.
He's loose down there, though. He really sent it in there on the bottom here. Caleb trying to complete the pass here to grab that lead back.
A little bit of a slide job. Here comes Chuck Sweeting on his way by. Caleb Weekly, after dominating here at Bristol, is going to take the win.
We'll see them both taking the high line, and he's in the back bumper of the 9.
Oh, man, I think he's going to hang on, though.
Chambliss able to hold on to it, keeps the momentum. The 44 does not have enough as Brian Chambliss takes home race number 10. Dakota Floyd finishing in the 6th position as our championship winner here tonight.
You're watching the Saturday Night Racing Challenger Series, only on V-Speed.
Back here live at Texas Motor Speedway, and we just have to quickly go back and recap what happened there to Judson Curtis. There's actually a couple drivers there that were fighting for a top 3, or top 5 position, rather. So we'll go back on the instant replay. This is on the white flag. Curtis on the bottom, Kerry on the outside. Here we go to take that white flag, and you had the 19 who was struggling with handling. And then also in that mix is the 20 machine of Timothy Peters. He's the one that gets lucks out, I think, out of all of these drivers, because he was on the bottom side and goes to the top. These 3 get collected with each other. Kerry loses spots, the 19 loses spots. Muncie goes back to 6, but it was Judson Curtis who lost the most out of this. Kerry was able to get his car going back and finish just ahead of him. So, you know, sometimes, Jeff, you get tunnel vision. You're worried about that one spot in front of you, and you don't think about the other 20 that are behind you.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a lot of guys there, you know, trying to get all they can late in the race. And that type of stuff's going to happen. I mean, you could see those 4 guys were all battling for one spot. And so, you know, you're going to have situations like that where contact's made, drivers get a little bit, you know, out of control and end up crashing. And unfortunately, the biggest loser, like you said, is Judson Curtis, the race winner from Daytona last week. But, you know, still a top 10. He spun all the way around. But because there was only 10 cars on the lead lap, he still gets a top 10 out of it. So definitely loses a few spots and loses a few points, but definitely could have been a lot worse.
Well, with that, we bring those final results up on your screen. 7 lead changes, 0 caution flags, 0 yellows here tonight. Richard Holland is going to get the victory, but unfortunately, without that yellow flag coming out, a lot of these guys at the very start of this race had problems. We talk about guys that fell out of the top 10 as well having issues. Jordan Trask getting a top 3. We'll talk to Richard Holland, Philip Brewer, and Jordan Trask in just a moment. Timothy Peters will finish in 4th with Stephen Davis in 5th. Then you have 6th position Michael Muncie. Rob Hamp finishes in 7th. Good show for the 18. Bryce Shoemaker just shy there at Daytona. He's going to get 8th spot here at Texas. Justin Carey falls back to 9th. And Judson Curtis, tough break, finishing 10th.
And in the 11th finishing position, it's going to be Matt Shinoski. Started 18th, so worked his way up a few spots, as did Rob Denton, who finishes 12th after starting 21st. Mark Cofield gets the 13th place. Keith Shoemaker, he will finish in the 14th position. Matt Dominique gets 15th. Austin Belkey finishes 16th. Brandon Wallace will get 17th. Chris Rude in that walking and rolling costumes Ford Mustang, he finishes 18th. Caleb Weekly hit the wall midway through the race. He falls back to 19th after some damage. Max Koss salvages a top 20 after getting in that incident on the initial start, but able to salvage some points out of the night.
I want to say the 54 Bryce Shoemaker, biggest mover of this race, gained 22 spots. I forgot to mention that there. Dakota Floyd, a complete flip-flop there of the season. One season ago, 21st position, 28th was where he started. Then you have 22nd position with Jeremy Reed. Tad Dabney will finish 23rd. Tim Shinosky in 24th. Logan Threlkeld, another tough day for him, 25th position. Edward Fiedler will finish 26th. Benjamin Richards, 27th. Mark McFadden in 28th. Noah Mihalski, that is the biggest tough break of the day. The driver that led the most laps and started up in the top row will finish 29th. Brian Hennings didn't even have a chance here to get the car up to speed. He had damage from the very beginning. He'll finish 30th. Justin Ritchie, early exit. And then Mike Sturgill, problems for him getting on the grid here tonight. He was 103 laps down to finish this thing out. As we try to cycle that, there we go. There's the information to finish this thing out. But now we have our top 3 we're going to bring up here in the booth. And 3rd place finisher here tonight, Jordan Trask in the number 79. Jordan, I know when you start on the pole, you expect this race to go smooth. You expect to come up here and lead a bunch of laps and just, you know, battle maybe 1 or 2 other guys. But from the very beginning, you lost the lead, and then it seemed like this car never really had a chance to get back to it. You had problems there entering the box, and then it was kind of just insult to injury after that.
Yeah, overall the car felt pretty good. I mean, Noah Mikulski there in the O3 is just really good on these older tracks with the low grip, and he sure showed it tonight. And unfortunately, he didn't quite get the finish he was looking for. But I feel like the car was really good. Had a chance for a top two. Unfortunately, had a big slide through 3 and 4. Don't know if you guys saw that one after my first pit stop, and with some contact with Michael Muncy in there in the 19. But it was just hard racing, and managed to battle back for a top three there.
Yeah, we were talking about that insult to injury. It seemed like even after that, late there in the white flag, you also had a situation behind you. I know you were trying to chase down Philip Brewer, but it seemed like once you got the car back underneath you and nursed those tires back, it was just a matter of getting this race over with.
Yeah, once I realized Philip was a little too far ahead, I just tried to save and just get a good finish. I need some more points after unfortunately getting wrecked out in the overtime last week at Daytona, but overall a strong showing and just glad to get a good finish.
Well, Jordan, with that, there's a lot of people that back you up here in the team channels and in the Discord. Go ahead and shout out anyone that comes to mind.
Yeah, big thanks to Joseph McCorder and JTM. It started off the season pretty strong with 2 podiums, with Judson winning last week and me finishing P3 this week. It's always fun to run with them, and thanks to you guys at B-Speed for putting this great broadcast on, and Jeff with the league. It's always a lot of fun, and I'm always looking forward to these weekend races.
Appreciate your time. Third place finisher Jordan Trass in the number 79, who come home with some good points here from Texas. And now Jeff Wright has caught up with your second place finisher. This may be Philip Brewer.
I have. Philip Brewer finishes in the second spot tonight. And Philip, it was a pretty smooth sailing night for you, I would say. It looks like you stayed out of trouble. Maybe didn't quite have the pace to stick with the 03 of Mahalski and Richard Holland. What more did you need to maybe be a little bit quicker to maybe battle those guys for the race win tonight?
Probably more practice. I didn't run very much practice, so I knew it was just going to be backing down and save tires. So just staying out of trouble was all I wanted to do, and it worked. I mean, I think if everybody would stayed out of trouble, I probably would have been 5th or 6th, but it's part of racing.
It seemed like that track was really hot, really slick tonight. Obviously, we've seen you last season. You were battling for a handful of wins. You know, one that comes to mind was that Homestead Miami race with Brian Chambliss. Did it feel kind of similar like that tonight? I mean, I know the Xfinity car drives a lot different, but I mean, there's got to be some similarities with the high tire wear tonight, the slick racetrack. Is that kind of what drives into your wheelhouse a little bit? Are you comfortable in this setting, and can we expect maybe some more good finishes like this and maybe see you break into victory lane? Because we got a lot of tough tracks on the schedule this season.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'm definitely hoping to get into victory lane. I kind of shot myself in the foot like 3 or 4 times last year, but honestly, I think the Xfinity car is my worst stock car. I've never really been good with it, but I think last year racing with the big dogs up in SNR, that really helped me. But we'll see. Each track's different, and I don't know. I'm just not great in this car. Just got to keep it smooth.
Well, it seems like a good finish nonetheless tonight, escaping with second place finish, staying out of trouble, keeping the car clean. Before we let you go, Philip, is there anybody you'd like to give a shout out to?
Shout out to you guys up at the booth. I know I'm going to rewatch this, but shout out to SNR too. It's a great league. I've really enjoyed being here.
Well, we appreciate the kind words. That's Philip Brewer in the 44. He finishes second tonight. Philip, thanks for talking with us.
Thank you.
And now your race winner, which is going to be standing alongside Mr. Bradley Cooper, if we can find him.
Do we have a Richard Holland here somewhere?
He might be, playing hard to find here with this. He's definitely not in the broadcast waiting room.
Well, let's see if we can get a hold of him.
See if we can get a hold of him. We'd love to talk to him. I mean, getting a race win here. Surely we got to talk to you. I know, led 30 laps tonight. A good showing. No, Mahalski probably the car to beat tonight, but Richard Holland was able to be there when it counted and comes away with the race win. So definitely I'd like to talk to Richard Holland if we can find him. So I'll put a couple pages out here in the Discord, Mr. Cooper. See if we can find him. If not,
see if you can get me an invitation link. It says that I do not have the ability to invite people. So
there he is, standing by.
There we go. Richard Holland in the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
I got you, Coop.
Well, Richard, it looked like one of those maybe top 3 days, but then a situation with a lap car. I don't want to take anything away from you. You were able to navigate the same traffic, but it just, I don't even know. How many times have you come out here in your debut in a series and just done something like this?
Not very many times, really. I mean, I kind of thought maybe I'd have a good run. I love this place, Legacy, Texas, but it's tough to come out and you don't really know people and how they race, and you tend to try to figure that out as you go, throughout the season, and maybe get more competitive, like racing harder against people you can race against and stuff. And I just really kind of felt like I was just going to feel people out, and I don't know, the car was really good, the setup was good, it felt good on a long run, and I just tried to take care of the right front the best I could, and found myself running second there, and I didn't have anything for the 03. He was completely dominant. He was fast and good on a long run, and I even pitted a lap after he did, and I still couldn't run him down. So, I feel bad for what happened to him getting taken out, and the race win just kind of fell in my lap there. So, and I just basically, I was at the point where I just could, not mess it up. So, but yeah, it went perfect for us, no doubt.
Well, you come in here tonight. I know that we had talked there prior to this season about, is there any leagues that you got going on? Is there anything that you would recommend? And the first one, you can back me up on this. What was the first one that I recommended?
Yeah, you told me to come over here and, for good, clean racing. And, this was the first place that you said, so this is where I came. I think it was Jeff that I messaged and told him I wanted to be a part of the group and get signed up and race. So yeah, you were definitely right. It was a great race. I couldn't believe the whole thing went green. It was a really good race, and I for what I saw and what I had, people were respectful and gave the leaders plenty of room. Obviously there was some issues there, but yeah, no, it was a great race.
Outside of that, Richard, congratulations on the victory. You led 30 laps, started in 4th position, and you're at the top spot in week number 2. Anybody you want to shout out?
Yeah, I just want to thank you, Coop, for letting me know about this league, and Dakota Floyd as well. I talked to him too about it. So and he had nothing but good things to say, and so I just want to thank everybody that puts this show on. I mean, looks like a bunch of new people coming in, and there's a lot of vehicles, a lot of cars on the track, and it made for good racing though. Just want to thank you for doing the broadcast, man. You do an awesome job. The broadcasts are unbelievable. V Speed's top notch, man. You guys kill it every week, no matter who's in the booth. Yeah, I just thanks to everybody, and great race. Appreciate it.
Appreciate your time. Richard Holland, victorious in week number 2 at Texas. We'll see you in 2 weeks' time at Auto Club.
You got it, man. Let's go.
Well, there you go, Jeff. I know that was a little bit of my bias coming out, but it is good to see. I put a lot of recommendations out there, and I try to, when I recommend people this league, I also recommend it to some of the best drivers that I know. Richard Holland's going to be a great addition here. I have a good feeling about him coming in here and the competition level that you guys put on. Most leagues with their feed series, their feeder series, have maybe guys that can't quite race above a 2000. This league in the Challenger Series, these guys definitely could finish top 10 in the Cup. It is so competitive in here.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, he showed his speed tonight. I mean, like we said before, Noah Michalski in the 03 had his problems. Richard was right there. It wasn't like he was way back in the pack. He had the speed as well. Just maybe needed some track position, maybe some clean air, and he would have been a little bit closer. But, nonetheless, able to close the deal, gets the win here at Texas. And like you said, these guys can be competitive in the SNR Cup Series as well. Different version of the racetrack. We're at the old track here in the Challengers. Challenger Series, tonight, 10 p.m. Eastern, we go live. We're at the new Texas in the next gen race car, so it's a little bit different combo, but these guys obviously showed a lot of talent out here tonight, going green to the end. I'd like to see that for the Cup Series. We'll see if we can do it, but it was a fun night, and Richard Holland gets the win here at Texas.
I'll be, of course, at 10 p.m. Eastern time in less than an hour, about 40 minutes or so. We'll be going live there on V-Speed. Hope you hit that subscribe button. It'll give you an alert notification that we are going to bring you flag-to-flag coverage all season long of both the Challenger Series and the Cup Series presented by M&J Distributors. But with that, Jeff, I got to say the schedule here, it's great. It's great to see that you guys extended this Challenger Series out to 19 races and put all these guys on a pedestal. They definitely deserve it with the quality of racing that they're putting out here. I appreciate you having me up in the booth here for another consecutive season. There's a look at the schedule here just before we go. We have an off week. Happy birthday to Brianna Cooper, my wife out there. Probably going to do something, but I can tell you for sure we needed an off weekend, and thank you, SNR, for allowing me that. Jeff, any final thoughts before we let him go?
Yeah, I think you covered it all. I'll just say real quick, thanks to all the other SNR League admins, Reggie Ortega, Chad Klinger, Brian Chambliss. They make it easy on me. I get to come up here and call a race with you, and they're the other admins that are actually having to, do the race control and that sort of thing. So I appreciate them. Without them being here, this isn't possible as well. So just thank you to them, obviously all of our sponsors that make this happen, and V-Speed. You guys are the best in the business, and I'm thankful that you guys allowed me to jump up here and call the Challenger Series with you guys.
For everybody at V-Speed, we'll see you in just about an hour. Adam Baker, Logan Threlkeld, Eddie Smith, Morgan Cook. This is Bradley Cooper saying so long for the Challenger Series. We'll see you in just a minute.